Boxing circles, Philadelphia is also home to the Bible of boxing, the Ring magazine.
This is an enlargement of the very first Ring magazine. It came out in 1922, a little time before I became editor. And on the cover we have Nat Fleischer, who was the founder of the Ring magazine, and Lawrence Lonsdale, who was a great patron of boxing. 6 years after the first magazine came out, Nat Fleischer awarded the very first Ring magazine Fighter of the Year award that went to Gene Tunney, who was heavyweight champion of the world at the time, had just beaten Jack Dempsey. Down through the years is all the famous fighters, all the greats have won it. Muhammad Ali more than anybody else, but of course Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano, Ray Robinson. But over the years, the Ring magazine has become more than just a publication that talks about boxing. It's become a publication that has tried to guide boxing in the right direction. As we know, things don't always go in boxing the way they should. There's been a lot of nefarious characters involved over the years, and the Ring has always tried to stand for the right thing, for the sport. So over the years it's gained a lot of respect, a lot of cachet. It's one of the most famous brands in boxing. And every year since then, there has been a Fighter of the Year. It's an award that is decided by the editors. We get together and we kick it around. Some years it's kind of obvious who it should be. Other years it's a close competition, and sometimes even it's hard to find somebody that really does stand out from the crowd. It has basically to do with several factors. One, what they have accomplished in the ring that year. That's number one. But also what their impact has been on the sport. You can have a fighter who's fighting in obscurity and has a lot of good wins, but really if it doesn't impact on the sport, he probably wouldn't be Fighter of the Year. So it's more than just what you do inside the boxing ring, but that is number one criteria. It's almost, if you read the list of the Ring Fighters of the Year, it's almost like reading a thumbnail sketch of boxing history. Ricky was one of those fighters that really did stand out the year he won in 2005. Obviously the fight that put him over the top was his victory over Costa Tszyu. Costa Tszyu went into the Ricky Hatton fight a big favorite. A lot of people tend to forget that now. He'd been the junior welterweight champion, which is 140 pounds, for a long time. He'd unified all the belts. He also had the Ring magazine championship belt that only goes to unified champions and lineal champions. And he was coming off a series of impressive performances. He didn't seem, even though in retrospect you think, well, maybe he was getting a bit old, going into the fight, that's not what people thought. They thought he was going to kick Ricky Hatton's butt. So the setting going into the fight is something you have to remember. Afterwards, you can say, well, you know, Costa Tszyu this, Costa Tszyu that. But going in, he was a legitimate world champion, had been for a long time, and was considered by many people as the greatest 140-pounder of all time. And I know that Ricky had to go to his promoter and fight hard to get the fight because, you know, maybe his promoter would have preferred something a little bit easier, keep business rolling. So Ricky went in there with a great fighter, a fighter with a real pedigree. And it was a tough fight. It wasn't a one-sided fight. But Ricky Hatton did something that was completely unbelievable going into the fight. He made Costa Tszyu, one of the toughest fighters of all times, quit on his stool. He'd hammered him so hard. It was one of those grueling fights where a lot of punishment was dished out.